The next thing we're going to work on is creating a procedure to add a rental record. Remember when we did this manually that the database management system caught some things, like if it didn't do the right type, right? It could either be a B or a D. If you use some other character there, it wouldn't be allowed to be entered in the data. So that was a rule that the database could enforce. But there are some business rules that are not enforced by the database, and we're going to create a procedure that will verify those rules before it adds a record. So we're going to want to make sure that we're using the correct database, and we want to be using the Purple Box database. And we want to drop this procedure if it already exists. So this is just something we need to do because you're only allowed to have one procedure that it has this name. So if it exists, and I'm going to call it rent movie, so we never get more than one of that type. I want to make sure and put go here so that this is executed before we get to the procedure. And then we want to set up our procedure. And we see in these first two lines that the procedure is going to have three parameters: the customer ID, the movie ID, and the movie type. And that's enough information to get us started on our create. We need to add our parameter list. We need a variable for each parameter. So we're going to have customer, and that's of type int because customer ID is of type int. We're going to have movie, which is also of type int, and we're going to have a type. And the type is of type char. And so those are the parameters that we need. We know that we start with as to begin our list of SQL statements that we're going to do. And then the next thing we want to notice here is that the instructions say that this procedure is going to return a 1 for success and a 0 for failure. Now this may or may be something that you've done and maybe not, and that is that you can return an integer from a procedure. And we're going to use this feature to report whether the rental record was added or not. And so what we're going to do at the very end, when if everything works, we're going to return a 1 for success. And that's going to be the last thing we do. And anytime along the way, if we have something that doesn't work, we're going to return a 0. Now we have our procedure all set up, and we'll be able to come back and do these individual tests. We're going to test that the customer has not reached their rental limit, that a customer is not banned, and that there's a movie actually available right now to be rented.